Today we will be talking about the 4 perfect lenses for a videography business. Hi, my name's Matt and recently I've started a new business and I've decided to take you along the journey so you can learn from my successes and avoid my mistakes. If that sounds like your cup of tea, do me a favor and subscribe. Before we dive into what is the perfect lens combination for a videography business, I have to specify my use case because perfect means something different for almost everyone. In my case, I mainly shoot corporate interview style videos and therefore my lens selection is pretty specific. I need, for one, a prime lens which will be used for the headshot part, the interview part of the videos, like I'm using right now, the 50mm 1.8. Perfect for this kind of scenario. Sometimes I need to be a bit further away from the subject and therefore I got the 85 1.8, which is also perfect for that job. So there was never really an issue with these two lenses or whether or not I should buy them. It only came down to brand. Was it a Sony, Viltrox or whoever offers an 85mm, because in the end they all do the job just fine. The issue I had was for the B-roll parts of my videos, where I needed a lens that could serve me well on my gimbal. And for the most part I've been using the kit lens, the 28-70. Unfortunately, in some cases it wasn't wide enough and in other cases it wasn't tight enough, which led me to start my almost never-ending journey for the perfect B-roll lenses. So let's dive into what I've found to be the perfect B-roll lenses in my use case after hundreds of hours of research. But let's take a step back to understand with what kind of lenses I finally ended up with. You need to understand the path I was taking towards these lenses, because I looked at almost every lens there is for the Sony E-mount system which would fit this gimbal scenario use case. I've looked at the Sony 20mm 1.8, I've looked at the 16-35 in the 2.8 and 4 version. I've looked at the Samyang 18 and 14 and Sony 14, yes, I think it was 14. All of these lenses. I dabbled with the Sigma lenses. I watched countless tutorials and reviews of the Tamron lenses and the Viltrox lenses and almost every lens there is for this use case. And finally I've came up with 2 lenses that would fit my use case. The first is the Tamron 17-28 at f2.8, which I got during the holiday season with a discount for about 650, which is an incredible price for that lens. And this will be the lens that I use on my gimbal most of the time. And basically because it's wide enough, tight enough, and doesn't zoom in or out. And by zoom in or out I mean that the zooming actually happens within the lens, so I don't have to rebalance my gimbal every time I choose another focal length. And this is something that I personally find quite nice. The other thing about the f2.8 17-28 is that it's rather light, which is also nice for gimbal work. The second lens I've bought is the Tamron 28-200. And while it's not a great lens or a well-rounded lens with the variable aperture from f2.8 to 5.6, I think, it's a lens that is quite good enough for what I use it for, because this will be the lens I'm using the least. Because simply put, on my gimbal I usually use wide shots and the 28-200 is rather for these tight, long-distance shots where I physically can't get any closer to the subject I'm trying to film. This happened to me a couple of months ago where I was shooting someone on a roof and I couldn't get closer because I was on the ground, he was 4 stories up, and all I had was the 28 to 70. And with 70mm I was still so far away that I had to crop in post, which I don't really like to do. Yeah, so these are the 4 lenses I finally came up with. They are not the sharpest, they are not the ones with the lowest aperture, but these are the lenses that, if you consider money for value, are perfect for what I'm using for. Because in the end, the clients almost never pixel peep. Or what do I mean with almost? They never pixel peep. I haven't had a single client who said that image isn't sharp enough, or that image is too, I don't know, the background isn't separated enough from the foreground. Never ever has this happened. Therefore, the Tamron 28 to 200 and the 17 to 28 are perfect. With these 4 lenses now, the 17 to 28, 28 to 200, the 50mm and the 85mm, I have everything I need to cover the distance from 17 to 200 with every single scenario I can think of. And therefore these 4 lenses are, in my opinion, perfect for what I'm using. And if you are in the situation where you need to figure out what kind of lens you want to buy, consider that you get the 17 to 28 and the 28 to 200 for the half of the price of the Sony 16 to 35. And yes, the 28 to 35 range is kind of missing on the f2.8 Tamron, but that's a trade-off I'm willing to make, because I hardly ever shoot at 35 or 31, 32 and so forth. Therefore, for considering the price, that's quite an easy bargain for me. So there you have it. These are the 4 perfect lenses for my kit, and hopefully this will end my never-ending lens hunt. So I'll see you in the next one. Have a good week and bye.